Hello, hello again. So on the bench today I've got a computer power supply. It's an EVGA 500 gold, 80 plus rated. It's just out of warranty, and it might have even been in warranty when I realised, or started to realise, there's some more stuff, that it's not really working. And so I took it to bits. Part of the reason I took it to bits was because I wanted to replace the fan. I had these two fans, but they have different size plugs on them, so rather than splicing up a cable or whatever to fit the other fan, it just kind of ended up where it was, in pieces. So in essence, this power supply doesn't owe me anything, and I have nothing to lose by doing what I'm doing. This is a bit of a, maybe don't try this at home. It's not a recommendation of how to fix your power supply. It's just an idea I've had, and if nothing else, I get a video out of it. I don't even have one of those power supply testers. So yeah, it's a bit of a gamble. I'm quite surprised, just looking at this now. This capacitor here is a Rubicon, and it's 420 volts, so that's quite a lot of volts, and 330 microfarads, which isn't necessarily a lot of microfarads. To my worldview or way of thinking, the capacitor in the power supply is the heart of the power supply, and capacitors are known for failing. So today's thought is, if we get that out and if we replace it. For some reason I got to a point with this and I stopped, and that screwdriver is going nowhere fast. Right, so let's try this screwdriver, see if it's any better, which it is. Pretty standard screws, which is probably quite handy if we're going to lose any of them. Let's do this one now. Is it? No. Stubborn. Oh, that was a progress. So now we have this capacitor. And I was going to say this, I dearly wish that I had marked which way around it was before I started, or even taken a photo, but get the feeling that that's the ground around there. Might be marked on the board if I am lucky. And I believe it is, yep. So, next steps, next thoughts. 420 volts, 330 UF. It's been sitting for a long time. There's no electricity in it, which I'm quite pleased about. Right. What I have here is a collection of very old capacitors from camera flashes and disposable cameras. Now my recollection was they're around the 400 volts mark, which is turning out not to be true for this one in particular. This one says 180 microfarads and 330 volts. I have a lot of them, and they are very, very old. Some of them are interestingly enough marked as Rubicon capacitors, so some of them are quite good quality from back in the day. Basically 2 of these would be equivalent to that, roughly speaking, depending on what the actual specs are. And 60 microfarads. That one's 150. Me sorting things is not very entertaining, is it? Really? So I might. There's 2 the same. There's 3 the same. I might. Now those brown ones are bigger. I wonder if I've got any more of those brown ones. So apparently the answer to that question is no, I don't have any more of those brown ones. But I've got a bunch of capacitors here, and I'm going to go off now and come back with a meter, and I'm going to select a number of capacitors from my bunch of capacitors. I'm going to measure the old capacitor to see if that is faulty or not. I suspect the difference between 420 volts and 330 volts will be okay, but I don't know for sure. We're 240 volts here, which I guess putting us around, it's going to be close to the 300 volts if it's just rectified, but 420 is more less than double 240 volts, so there's not a doubling going on, I don't think. So we will find out momentarily. So here we are with a meter. I wonder if we can get that into a position where you guys can see it, which is perhaps there. I suspect you can see it, I don't know. It's not particularly easy to see my screen. So I'm just going to go through these ones that I've got. Measure. And that says nothing. Absolutely nothing. Probe's in the wrong hole, which doesn't surprise me. So that's 159 out of 160, or 159.3 out of 160. 166, so that's a real good one. So it's 164. One's angry, and the wrong way around, probably had some electricity in it. 161. 168. 159. 156. 158. 155. The point of all that is capacitors apparently age and go off. I don't necessarily believe that to be the case. Maybe it's a bit of a thing with more budget, perhaps, manufacturing techniques that we have these days. But they have potentially been sitting in those tins since 1992, which I can't do the maths on in my head, and potentially well past their best before date. That resistor that sticks up is annoying. I wonder if I could make that resistor sit down. I probably can't. But we could measure that resistor and see how likely it is that we've got one that we could fit instead. I don't know what it is particularly. I haven't seen an orange resistor. I suspect it's going to be perhaps an insanely small value. Might even be a shape, might not even be a resistor. And I have to swap my leads over again. .8 of an ohm. 0.2 of an ohm. So I'm reading it in the right place, which I may not be. 0.7, 0.8. We'll just leave that alone. Right, more soon. So I've got two of those capacitors in there. I don't think the camera was recording at the time, which is frustrating, but they are soldered in there now. I think they're going to clear the case okay. There's enough little wiggle room there. Don't know necessarily that they clear a fan if I was going to put a fan in there. I'm not intending to have a fan in there, to be honest, to be frank. Personally, I find the lack of insulation on these things worrying, but also it's probably the nature of computer power supplies. It's probably a common practice across the board, although I don't particularly like it. Let's be honest. I'm just hooking the arm switch back up, although I am not going to be going anywhere near the switch when I try this out. There we go. So what remains to be done is to trim the leads on the bottom of those capacitors, have a little tidy up. Yeah, shits and giggles times. I don't know how well you can see. There, there. Still quite a bit pokey out of it. Right. Now a bit of solder in there, which we want to get rid of. Ah, interesting. Maybe I'll get that squirmy on this, and I'm very lucky. Oh, maybe I can. If I was being particularly particular, which clearly I am not, I could glue those capacitors down, stop them gluing out. Right, here I have a motherboard. It is a first generation. Power LED minus. So that's that one. Hard drive reset. Power is the red one. Power switch is that one. So hopefully we'll be able to see quite clearly. Should we have success with it, we should get a light on our power switch. How's that sitting? Let's plug some stuff in. Just going to unplug this for the meantime, just in case. Right, are you recording? Nothing. Yeah, a satisfying thwack sound. And oh, if that CPU fan continues to spin, this might be, it appears too, that might be a level of success. Ah. Right, that's going again. That suggests it's boot cycling. That RAM might actually be faulty. I don't think it is faulty because I would have thrown it out, but also it is not. Hold in high regard. So that's interesting. I might finish putting some more bits back to that power supply. I mean, that is spinning. If we had a monitor out here, we'd probably even have an idea of what was going on. Right, very good.